it's Julie Ziemelis, 365 Hawaii, and I am here today with
Amber Haley.
With Real Broker.
Like, so you're not thrown off for a minute.
I know, I'm sorry about that. I do that to Lance sometimes. I'm like, I'll introduce yourself. I think next time we're going to wear our real shirts.
I almost wore mine today.
Yeah?
We'll coordinate next time.
We'll coordinate next time. Because we are the Real Broker team. And we have come to you today to give you the numbers for East Hawaii for January 2025. And also, we're here on Mile and I, and there are whales that are actually spouting right off of here. Because it is January in Hawaii. This is another reason why coming, and you guys have whales on your side of the island too.
I saw my first whales last week off the coast in Puna.
Yeah. And look she's wearing this, shows that it's warm in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Whales are spouting. It's a beautiful time to be here. But we cannot ignore the fact that there are a lot of people suffering today too.
Yes.
The fires in Los Angeles have just been devastating. And watching people who actually have second homes here, who I know, and they're watching their friends and their families in their own homes go up. And, it's just, it's hard not to trauma scroll.
Yes, it's really hard, and the content is really scary.
It is, yeah.
And for the entire state of Hawaii, I think that a lot of people are feeling triggered and secondhand because of everything that wasn't our island, but the whole state kind of went through with Lahaina.
And also just watching how long it's taken for that community to rebuild. This isn't something that happens. This takes years. And that we also know that just because you own the property doesn't mean that it'll be built anytime soon. And once it is, it's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Right. So we give our hearts out to those affected by the LA wildfires. Let's hear what's going on in East Hawaii.
All right. So we have it's kind of our post-holiday, but I'm going to call it our holiday data because we're going to look at the market at a glance for just the month of December primarily is what I'm going to be giving you stats from for East Hawaii. So we have two main districts, the Puna District, which is where most of the real estate transactions really on the whole island take place, but definitely on the east side, and then the South Hilo District, so where Hilo Town is, the main part of Hilo there. So we're going to look at single family homes and see what has happened since our last market update. So, let's start with Puna today.
Okay.
Because I think it's maybe the more interesting one.
Oh, okay.
So in the Puna District, the median price for a home right now is $362,500. Uh-huh. And keep in mind, like I say almost every month probably, that's for lava zones 1, 2, and 3. So if you're looking at just lava zones 3, the price point generally is a little bit higher because real estate is more valuable when you get to lava zones 3 and up.
Right.
Because of things like insurance, which I'm thinking about a lot today. Yeah. I know a lot of people are homeowners insurance.
Yeah. It's interesting that to get average schmo homeowners insurance on top of lava insurance. I mean, is it all the same? Is it all rolled in together?
Technically, and I think you'd probably have to talk to each insurance company to find out exactly what their policies are. But from my understanding is most of them, it's usually fire insurance that you have. And so that created some issues for some people when the lava surrounded their properties, but the home didn't burn down. Right. Because to my knowledge, there's no lava insurance policy. So yeah, it's just a really, really interesting thing, and I'm a little worried for people with insurance. Yeah, no, insurance is a dirty word lately. It's always been a hard, thing. I feel like in some of these nuanced markets in Hawaii because we have, things like hurricanes and volcanoes and stuff like that. But yeah, now I just feel like it's gonna be maybe harder for the whole country. But yes. That's maybe a YouTube video for another day. Right. But yeah, so $362,500. The bonus of having problems with insurance and financing is you can get some really affordable real estate. Yeah, so that's your silver lining right there. A median price in Puna District of $362,500 in the state of Hawaii. So here's the most interesting stat. We are still very slow in the Puna District. I felt this in December. Mm-hmm. 82 days on market was the average days on market for all the homes that closed, single family homes that closed in December, and there were 80 of them that did. Uh-huh. So that's pretty slow for our market. That is much slower than where it was a year ago whereas 46 was the average days on market for all the homes that closed.
So double the amount of time to get your house off the market.
Yeah, just about double. And also the median price is a little bit lower. It was $390,000 a year ago, which I'm trying to do math. I'm like, oh, that was 2023. Now we're in 2025. I'm talking about December.
Yeah, so it's 4. Okay.
So, and then if we look at like last month, just to remind everyone, or if you didn't tune in, our median value was $375,000 for Puna, and it was 71 days on market. So we actually went a little bit lower in value, a little bit longer on the market.
Which means softer market.
Yes. Yeah. And I will say there was a lot, like for me, that's where I work with the most buyers. Like all of my business I do. Lately, it's been mostly buyers in Puna. So I've really seen that trend just with my clients and talking to my colleagues too. There's been a lot of people on the fence. Now, I will say that since these stats with these sales in December, I do feel like buyers are, I think it will start to pick up because my clients are now like, okay, now it's go time. Like after the first
yeah. People seem to think that too. I think that we've gotten a couple people who I think that they were probably talking about it over the last 6 months, and they said, let's wait until after the new year.
Yeah.
And then like the person who's the most excited about buying a house is first calling, because we got like 3 or 4 phone calls like on the 2nd of January.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Yeah.
So I do think that maybe people are feeling a little optimistic about coming to Hawaii this year.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Or getting some investment property, maybe. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our stats for Tuna. That's a good one. I've never done that one before. Okay, do we have tuna in Hawaii?
Yeah,
like fish. Ahi is tuna.
There you go.
There you go. Learn something new every day. I don't eat seafood. That's why I didn't know that. Okay. Final list of sales price for Puna, because we like to talk about this stat, was 92.46% for those 80 single-family homes that closed. And that is not too far off from our last market update where we were at 92.29%. And then a year ago when we were at 93.64%.
So it's just been kind of a soft market.
It's just been slower.
Yeah.
And then, when properties sit on the market for longer, one of the main effects we see from that is that buyers tend to get a little more negotiating power. So good news if you're a buyer. And that's probably, why we saw a median dip in price. If stuff's sitting on the market longer, you really do usually have more power to go in with a lower price offer. Really,
Which brings the prices down.
Yeah. So that is the trend that we saw. And let's take a look we'll go a little bit north of Puna.
Yeah. And just also because we were talking about condos before you came
okay.
There are no condo complexes in Puna District.
In the Puna District, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
No condos, no.
Yes.
And then there's only
there are it gets a little confusing for people because technically there are some properties that are considered
CPR'd.
Okay. And so people are like, are those condos? But that's like kind of means a different...
Right. It's a way that the land's divided. Yeah. In fact, someone just sent me an email about that. What is the heck is going on here? It was like $285,000 for something. And I'm like, but that because they were selling basically a slice of land,
like it's like
from a
part of a larger
piece of land. Yeah, yeah. That's another like your little TikTok-y reel. But the and then Hilo, there are a few condo complexes.
Yes,
but are those STVR?
Well, it depends. They aren't all. There are some.
Okay, so you're going to find a heck of a lot less STVR condos in East Hawaii than you will ever find in West Hawaii. Just so you guys know that. So that way, if you're coming into this new because you're thinking 2025 is your year and you haven't watched a lot of our things, I just wanted to give you guys the parameters of how that goes. Okay.
Yeah. So not every building has the proper zoning, and they have talked on and off, and we'll see what happens with the county of maybe changing some of the zoning up in Volcano area. I don't know, if that will really happen. I think that would be maybe kind of exciting because there's not a whole lot up in Volcano, but there is, people love Volcano National Park and there's some tourism there. So I can see a good argument for that. So. But right now, it's in the Puna District. You're not going to find any of that. So if you are looking for an investment property or maybe a second home that you want to rent out, just know, you can't do the short-term rentals unless it already has a non-conforming use permit that's active and valid still, and that would transfer with the sale of the property.
Right, and you'll find that usually it says that in the liner notes. If you're looking at property, you'll say STVR.
Yes.
Short-term vacation rental. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so that is important to note. Now let's talk about Hilo. So Hilo, we have a lot less units that sell for single family homes. So there were 13 for the month of December, and the median price was $604,000, which you were seeing kind of like the opposite effect. I feel like the third month in a row we've seen a little bit of the opposite effect in Puna and Hilo for whatever reason.
But the price is going up in Hilo.
Yeah, so the price went up in Hilo because last month it was $555,500, the median sales price. And then a year ago it was $470. Let me make sure I even read that right. Yes, $478.95. So up in Hilo
there,
for prices. Let's see, days on market. We had 63 days on market for those.
So faster than
faster than Puna,
HPP, yeah,
and faster than the month before when it was 80. And then for whatever reason in 2023, the 21 single family homes that sold in Hilo, average days on market was only 36.
So now it's 60 something?
63.
Okay, so it's still hanging down there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And let's look at our list of sales price. What do we need to offer? Well, again, it very much depends on the home, but these homes that closed in December, they were 94.85% final list price to the sold price. And that was closer to list price than we saw last month when we talked about it. It was 91.83%.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then a year ago it was about the same, 94.15%.
Okay. Wow. Did you ever see 103%?
We've seen over 100, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to think how long ago we've seen it, though. We might have had like a one-off stat in the last year or two of over 100, but I feel like it was really like the pandemic market when we were seeing mostly that.
Okay. So,
I think I've seen like 108% might have been.
So are these just aggressive sellers just trying to get what they can from the market?
With the price?
Yeah.
It might be, and it's also when we have less data, we could pull up and look at every single home that's sold and like analyze it a little bit further. But there is kind of, a range of property prices in Hilo. You do have like your well over $1 million market in Hilo, and then you do have your like $400,000-$600,000 market. So, that's probably what kind of skews our data weirdly in Hilo is just like what types of homes in that district sold that year. So that's why it's always important. These market like snapshots are really, really great, especially if you watch every month, but you also really need to pay attention if you're buying to like that specific situation and that specific house.
And the neighborhoods have their own little thing to it. So neighborhood expert. Okay.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about, speaking of neighborhood experts, one of the neighborhoods I consider myself an expert is Hawaiian Paradise Park. And if people want to know what the median sales price there is, because that is the Puna District, that is where a lot of sales take place. And the median sales price for a single family home of the active listings on the market right now is $595,900. And so as you can tell, that number is quite a bit higher than the median price overall in Puna. So those of you who are thinking you want to live in a neighborhood like Hawaiian Paradise Park, definitely there's some YouTube videos on their channel about, at least one that we did about Hawaiian Paradise Park.
We walked through it and showed you the neighborhood.
That's a really, really popular neighborhood because it's in Lava Zone 3 and you can get like usually in a 1 acre lot and not be too far from Hilo if you have a commute there. But there is a range. The lowest listing there is $295,000, and the highest right now is $1.498 million. So
there we go. And the 1.4 probably is near the ocean.
It probably is.
There you go.
Yeah.
So just again, why that by this, the subdivision ends up fronting almost. It does front the ocean. There's houses right on the cliff.
There's houses right on the cliffs.
Yeah. So those are gonna be a little more expensive. But they also have to deal with hurricane insurance.
Yeah, and they are in a tsunami zone.
Yeah.
And the ocean, if you have spent time on the east side and the west side of the island, you may know this, but the ocean it's different. Oh yeah, it's a little rougher along the Puna coastline than if we went down right here from this property to the ocean down there. So there are, especially during some times of the year, if you are living right on the water, I would be a little scared because living not right on the water, you can hear the ocean slamming on those cliffs sometimes on that side of the island. And so, yeah, it would be really cool, I think, to live on the cliffs, but it does put a lot of, it's a lot for, like, to maintain a property right on the water.
Right, because it's wet, it's salty. Also, we haven't had one in a long time, but there was a couple of years that it seemed like we were getting hurricanes in East Hawaii. Lane and Azal. And, so it does happen.
It
doesn't happen in West Hawaii. But I will say that
she says that now, but unprecedented things are happening.
Yes, unprecedented things are happening. You're right. Never say never. Okay, so then basically, in general, if you were a buyer coming into the market, how do you, when you summarize this market, what are some tips that you can give them about how to deal with the housing at this point?
So if you're a buyer coming into the market, just know, like, this, I think the sooner you can jump in if you're just kind of waiting for the right time, probably the better, because like I said, I do think it's going to pick up on the east side. It has had a holiday lull. I know that a lot of people are probably concerned about like mortgage rates. There's not that much we can do with timing that if you need to buy a house. So definitely the sooner you can get pre-approved and know what you're working with and what type of home loans, that's great. But I think it's the good news for buyers, and that what I hope will like help offset maybe some of the mortgage rate anxiety is that there's a lot of like negotiating power right now. Like, you know, we had a broker caravan this week, like seeing just all of these listings sitting for so many days. A lot of them are, that the price needs to come down and they will accept a lower offer probably. So you have negotiating power. You might not have that with your mortgage rate as much, but with the overall price, and hopefully that will help. Sellers are really, really willing to work with buyers right now on seller concessions, on helping with closing costs, on just bring us an offer. Like what can we do to
get this house off the market? Yep. In fact, we just had Travis Green, our mortgage guy, on the show right before Amber, and he said that sometimes you can talk to your mortgage broker about what's it going to take to bring the price down of the house enough to lower your interest rate. So you're basically buying down your interest rate.
Interesting, yeah.
See? So then they go, give me like 30 or 40% off, $30,000 off the cost of the house.
Seller concessions towards mortgages.
There you go, seller concessions towards mortgage. And that way, on a monthly basis, you pay less.
Yes.
See? So you think about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of creative things you can do. And if you have a good team, you have a good lender, you have a good agent, can work together on these strategies. But it never too early to reach out and start those conversations so that you can be in a position when the right house comes up.
And understand how all that works. In fact, so for you guys who are watching us on YouTube, Travis and I just did a really interesting how investment condos and homes actually work in terms of all the things you have to deal with. And he talks about some of those buy downs. So if you're interested in learning how to maximize your financing, that's a good one to watch. And then speaking of watching something, Amber and I are going to do an interesting little underrated, overrated game next. And so for those on YouTube, you guys can watch it as a separate video. I don't know if we're going to put it on for live for our people. Is anybody over in East Hawaii looking at our...
Yeah, here, I'll tell you who's on right now. Let's just say hi, all right?
Does anybody have any questions for Amber?
Okay, and while you're doing that, I'll read them out. Kristen says hi.
Hi, Kristen.
Renee, again, is on.
Hi, Renee.
Lance is on again.
Lance.
Evie is on.
Oh, Evie.
Evie, sorry. Mark is on, and Tammy is on, and Sheila is on.
Wait, we got the crowd over there.
Yay!
Yay! Our famous 365ers are sitting there watching this. A few of them live in East Hawaii. So know that your home prices are not coming down too fast, but there's some softness there in the market. Okay, well then maybe because we do have some friends that maybe we'll just run it live on the underrated, overrated.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. So at this moment, we're going to close this one out and we'll start again. So aloha, and thanks you guys. And real quick, if you guys are on the the hunt for a home and you want to know more about the housing market across the entire island, we do have another event coming up on January 26th, which is a Thursday, and we're going to do a live Zoom where we're asking people from all over the island to kind of weigh in with our realtor partners. So if you want to do that live with us, let me know. I'll get you the link. We'll also post that link inside our Facebook group, the I'm Moving to Hawaii and Buying a Home on the Big Island. So do that. And then if you want to be on the live experience, please go onto the 365 Hawaii Living website and go and join the Ohana, and you'll get access to all of our resources and also our Facebook groups. So with that, thank you very much for giving us the information, driving all this way, and we'll see you guys in February. Aloha!